Oh, I really like this music. Hello, everyone. This is Christian from NetGuru. And today we're going to talk, we have our disruption talk around AI. This session is more for tech savvy people. So basically, today, again, we have Patrick Stigwo with us, our R&D specialist, our R&D manager. Hello, Patrick.
Hello, good to see you.
Good to see you too. So, AI assistance is a topic for today, right?
Yes, exactly. We'll talk a little bit about how to create
So,
one.
mhm.
Hello,
Yeah, okay,
can you hear
perfect. We
me?
will
Okay.
talk on how to create and what are the. Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me as well?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So maybe we can start, and maybe you can tell us to understand private AI assistants. What can you elaborate? What is the private assistant?
Yeah, sure. So you probably know the ChatGPT bots, and you can just use it, and you have some assistants there. And right now, you can create any assistants on your private machines, and you can use them with different models. So today we will set up small chat on our machine. We will use, of course, OpenAI for purpose of these workshops, but in the end, you can use any AI model. Either it will be on your local machine, either it will be OpenAI or Anthropic, Claude, or anything. And we will set up a few different scenarios with private assistants, and these private assistants will play a role of some, I don't know, customer service, our perfect English scripter, or someone who will improve our grammar. Maybe we'll do with something with social media, we'll see, but we'll set it up live, and we'll talk with our private assistants like those one made in ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. Maybe let's try to before we will jump into it. Let's try to think what is the reason to have this private assistant, and what is the difference between regular chatbot, some consumer facing application, versus private assistants. I guess that you probably is also you're using those assistants on a daily basis. Can you explain what is the main purpose to use this? What are the benefits to have this private
Mhm.
assistant, and what is the difference between chatbots that probably most of people are aware of?
Yeah, sure. Maybe let's start how it works, how large language models work. Basically, you need to give it some text, and based on those texts, it will predict next words, right? So if you have like basic chat, you need to write something, and based on what you write, it will generate next things. You ask a question, it will generate an answer, and so on. And if we use our assistants, it goes with some pre-configured scenarios. So we have some text called often system prompt, so we already pre-added some words. For example, you are expert in social media. You will write LinkedIn posts, Facebook posts, Twitter posts, and so on. So we have this pre-configured text with a lot of words. So large language model can focus on it, and then when you ask a question, it has not only your question but also this pre-configured sample from system prompt, so you get better outcomes. Also, you don't need to explain everything what the AI should do, because you already told you are social media manager and so on, so you can just copy paste, for example, I don't know, a paragraph from some article, and it will try already create some social media posts for you. So this is the difference. You have pre-configured scenarios, so you can just type anything and it will try to follow the configuration. And in basic chat, you have to explain everything one by one to get the same result.
Hmm. So in other words, this is for more focused business applications or private purposes. It has more contextualized knowledge. All right,
Exactly.
so let's jump into it. I guess you want. So how do we start? How we can, do the first step?
Perfect. So maybe I will screen share my screen. Let me go there. Yeah. So today we will start with Run Llamachat Llama Index. Llama Index is a beautiful framework for creating applications with large language models. And today we will be using the chat version. It has pretty cool interface because we'll get right away the chat where we can send messages. We will have some pre-configured bots and we can create our own. And it's really simple to set up. I already have it set up, but few words how to do it if you want to go along with me or after the workshops. So there are two, like local development. So you just clone it from GitHub and you run some commands and it's working. Another thing is to use Docker. So you just build it and then you use another command to just run it and you have it. You don't need anything else. And then you can use your configuration. Where is it? There is there should be configuration file where you can put everything there. So you have .env development local, and you can, for example, set OpenAI API key. You can set up Anthropic key, Cloud API key, Gemini API key, and so on. And really easy to set. It's really easy to set it up.
So if I may interrupt, it means that you can use different large language models with this chat.
Yes, exactly. It's up to you. And then you can select for each bot to use even different large language models. So you can configure everything and have
Okay.
customized versions. For
Okay.
example, OpenAI is better at reasoning. So you use
Mm-hmm.
it for reasoning. You use, I don't know, Gemini because it gives you better, I don't know, translation.
Mm-hmm.
You need to translate a lot of documents. So you use it for translation and you can
Yeah.
configure on your
This
own.
is actually quite smart that you can switch, right? Because I've noticed that often people are, wondering, hey, what kind of model should I use? Those, everyone is using OpenAI, but there is also Microsoft one, and there is Google one with Gemini. So I guess that having the ability of switching those quite easily for your even internal purposes, then it's really smart, right? Because you can just verify which one will provide best results for your specific business case.
Exactly. You can create like three different bots for three different providers of large language models. And then you can test it and then remove bots that are not useful for you. Also, you can use like own uh, models on your machine. So if you have a lot of text, you can do it on your local machine. So you don't need to, burn money because you have a lot of different text to process. So
Yeah,
you are
yeah,
really flexible with it.
great.
Perfect. So after setting it up, you will get a screen something like this, and everything. I will change maybe to the whiter background, and everything will be here. I already have one GPT-4 bot. Let me just write test message to make sure it's working. And as you can see, you will have like uh, your messages in like chatbot, and you can easily clear context, send messages. And there is also option to attach documents, for example, PDFs and so on. But I haven't configured it because I have, let's say, custom setup with our Azure infrastructure. So sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it works. You need to configure it more.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. So everything is working. So maybe let's talk a little bit about the assistants because you need to have some system prompt to create one. So you need to have some use cases. And not only the use case, you need to know how to solve the use case. And basically, I use two sources of good system prompts. One, probably you know, Christian, awesome ChatGPT prompts. It's pretty old because it's like from the uh, beginning of ChatGPT. When it came up in the first place, it was there, I believe. And right now, it's pretty huge amount of different prompts. And basically, you have like SEO prompts, Ethereum developer, Linux terminal, English translator and improver, and so on.
Mm-hmm. So this is basically, let's call it a GitHub, right? Source or GitHub, let's call it repository with kind of predefined prompts for some specific application, right? For even like very kind of narrowed ones, like act as an Excel sheet or a pronunciation helper, spoken English teacher. So even if someone is building their own business application with that will be GPT or this kind of private assistant based, like super useful to test those predefined prompts so that maybe it can work better as a start, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's a great starting point because for business, you need to have really specific uh, user journey, let's say. So if you ask something, you have really specific questions that bot need to ask. Because, for example, let's go with this travel guide. Uh, if you want to book some, I don't know, hotel, some travel or anything, bot need to ask you some specific questions. For example, when, where, and how long. What is the maximum price or minimum price? What is the standard of the hotel, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And here we have like something really simple that I will write my location. You will suggest places to visit near the location. And you can start with it. You just copy paste it, add it to your bot, and then you build on top of it to get the perfect user journey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And usually we know that from the experience, right? That when you're working on some specific LLM business application, it's on a first stage, it's often, let's say, prompt adjustment or prompt engineering, right? So this is where it getting to be very useful. You don't need to create that from scratches. So there are some predefined, like a profiles, act as a real estate agent, right? Something super practical, or act as a dentist, right? Or web design consultant, or a doctor, accountant. So yeah, there are many of those that you can use.
Exactly. And these are like the bases. So you start with it, then you adjust, make prompt engineering to adjust it to your needs, to your business needs, to your private needs, depending on how you'll use it. And then you can just talk with it and it will have all the information you need.
I really liked act as an AI trying to escape the box. This is news. All right, cool. So we're using this one as the uh, role, right? Adjustment for your chatbot. So
Exactly.
what is the next step?
So maybe let's create one from this. Do you have any preferences? Maybe let's try with this travel guide, as I mentioned it already. So
Right?
let's just copy this, and then we go to our chat llama. We press the button create bot, and here we have a lot of things to choose. So at first we add the prompt, and then we can like choose, is it the system prompt, user prompt, assistant prompt, because you can pre-configure even a small chat here. We'll start with the system prompt, and then we can just paste it. We can change the avatar easily, so something for travel, maybe airplane. Let's call it travel guide. We can hide the context prompt, and it's really useful. I always like click it, so this text doesn't show up,
Yeah.
and it's already hello, how can I assist you? And I don't know the details of the system prompt because sometimes it's long and it will take like the whole screen for you.
Yeah. So
So
this is like this system prompt is already embedded in. So when you're hiding that, it will not be visible for the user, but it will be there basically, right? So it will adjust the initial conversation with the bot to your need, right? And this is, I
exactly.
guess, one of the most popular techniques in specifying the purpose of the bot, right? Because we need to understand that at the end of the day, the prompt itself is more complex structure than the only thing that user is prompting, right? Because there are some system prompts, assistant prompts, those elements, right? And this is what everything goes inside. But yeah, one of the most useful trick is to hide it from the user so that we are focusing on some specific context from the first interaction.
Exactly. So this system prompt will work from behind the scenes, basically. And here we have like, hello, how can I assist you? So maybe, hello, where do you want to go? Let's start with, we select the model. I will select GPT-4 because I have configuration. We can select also the temperature.
Mm-hmm.
So the creativity of our
Yeah.
model, I will leave it by default. Top P is also kind of creativity. Max tokens, I will leave it as it is, and some memory prompts, leave it at all. And we just close it. And here we have our travel guide with the message, hello, where do you want to go? So I want to go to Warsaw. Let's start. And as you can see, we do not give any other information, just I want to go to Warsaw. And as you can see, it's already generating for us some information, what we can see there. The Royal Castle, Warsaw Old Town, Łazienki Park, Warsaw Uprising Museum. So this is only our message that we sent, but because there is a system prompt behind the scenes, it's already know that it needs to, let me switch to it. I will write your location and you will suggest a place to visit near my location. In some cases, I will
Mm-hmm.
give you some types of places and so on. So basically, it will suggest the places to visit near Warsaw. And it's already doing that. And we have something in Warsaw, we have something outside of Warsaw, but close by. So it's really great because we have everything pre-configured. So one short message and everything is working for us.
Right. So it basically shows the most useful private chat application. So basically, it's already embedded with some kind of context, right? And this is why it's not so generic as regular chat GPT solution, right? Rather, it will work on some predefined context for the role.
Mhm, exactly. So we have our travel guide, we have everything like behind the scenes, and it's working. And we can create any number of bots. We have
Mm-hmm.
simple search, so we can find our bots. And you can create it to, support you in the work, support
Yeah.
you
Like a
in any way.
personal, yeah, like a personal productivity, right? Use cases. So this is really genius.
Exactly. For personal cases, I have different source because there is this Fabric. Fabric is framework for augmenting humans using AI, and it's
Mhm.
pretty new, and I think it's pretty great. It was made mostly for developers because it's working in the terminal. So you need
Mhm.
command line, you need to type something and so on. But what is great, it's open source, so you can always like take a look at the repository, go to patterns, and here you have a lot of things like analyze answers, claims, debate. You have a lot of different prompts that you can use to get the output. And as you can see, you have a lot of like personal support. So for example, you have like newsletter that you read, so you can easily summarize it. You can ask it to write a tweet, or if you are a developer, to write pull request for you. So you have a lot of ready to use system prompts. So we
Mhm.
can check out one or two, maybe extract business ideas. It's like.
Yeah.
our core related. So if you go here, you have like something different because it has a lot of prompt engineering here. Because here we had like simple, I want you to act as someone. Here we have special prompt engineering to get the proper output. And it's always like identity and purpose of the bot. So it has all the information that it needs to know, that you are someone, you act as someone, and so on. So basically this part is similar to this act as travel guide. We have output sections when we explain exactly for the AI what we expect from it. So
Mm-hmm.
we want to extract top ideas. It might be few or might be up to 40 in a section called extracted ideas. Then you need to pick 10, elaborate on them, and you have output instructions. So you want markdown, so you have beautiful notes format. You don't want any warnings. You can use like number at least, not bullets, so you have always 1, 2, 3 instead, and you do not repeat anything, and you do not start with the same opening words. So you have a lot of engineering, so it will never get stuck in the loop, for example, because the fifth is working like that. You don't repeat anything, so it narrows the output and makes it more better quality.
Mm-hmm. And is it also something that you would use in this kind of system prompt?
For the business, yes,
Yeah.
because it's evolved version, I would say, for from the awesome chat GPT prompts. For example, if we take this travel guide as an
Mm-hmm.
example, so we can exactly like copy paste this to identity and person purpose. So you are travel guide, you will give me suggestion on
Mm-hmm.
location and so on. Then in output section I will list that I want 5
Yeah.
different locations in Warsaw, 3 different
Yeah.
locations outside of Warsaw, and maybe we can build up on that, and you will suggest for me how to travel to those places, or create a plan what to visit in which order to you don't do not waste time on going from one place to another and so on. In output instructions, maybe we want mind map, maybe we want Excel with all the numbers, for
Mm-hmm.
example, how far away something is from the city center or anything. And then goes our input, and we'll get more precise output related to our case.
Yeah. So I can imagine that this is like a massive time saving technique, because basically this structure is like a perfect prompt structure, right? Where we usually are saying that, hey, you need to specify the purpose, the role of the assistant. Then you need to be very specific around what kind of output are you expecting, right? And what are the instruction for these outputs to make it repeatable. So if you're in a personal role where there are some uh, repeatable, let's say, output types, right? So in my case, let's say when we're working with a product, you really usually analyze a tons of product documentation, and then you are creating some other ones. And in fact, even if this is, let's say, creative, but the structure itself is quite repeatable, right? So when you work with GPT-4 from the OpenAI, you need to define this every time, right? And here you have much more powerful tool that will provide you at the end of the day much more, let's say, better, let's say, better quality output at the end of the day, right? So this is main
Exactly.
thing.
Yes. So, for example, it's also the perfect for customer service, serving the clients, and so on. Because, for example, we can say you are a NetGuru specialist to talk with our clients and get some information. And in output section, we can specify that your job is to get free information from the client and then summarize it so it can start, preparing some documents or anything. And it can guide the user to get the proper output instruction.
Mm-hmm. Okay, perfect. So this is as an additional context, let's say, or role layer. So, okay, so we have configuration. We can use Llamachat. We have roles. We have still around 3 minutes. So if there is anyone that is listening that would like ask some real time question, we are more than happy to answer that. Is there anything more, Patrick, that you would like to mention about in this field?
Mm, I'm not sure right now. What?
Okay, so maybe let me mention about, let's say, most popular profiles that we've been kind of commercially implementing. So um, one of the most popular use case that is basically uh, implemented is around sales, right? So all those kinds of sales representatives. So when we have specific sales role, let's say around the vehicle rental process, right? This is, or those kind of assistant or product specialist or product um, like the product search engine optimization specialist, right? SEO specialist, or some kind of sales support, insurance sales support. These are kind of profiles that may be quite often used. And of course, for internal productivity purposes, this is very unique for each person. But I guess that you, Patrick, you mentioned about developers, right? I guess these are the profiles that can be very much been used during those actions. Can you maybe also share from your perspective what are the use cases that you're using those tools privately?
Yeah, sure. So to be honest, I use it a lot, especially to create some uh, mm, mermaid visualization because it allows me to create like mind maps, and
Mm-hmm.
this is the tool to create like the text with some arrows, and it converts me to the mind maps. So when I need something, I get that. I use it also to clean my text. Somewhere here is, yeah, clean text. So if I make any mistakes or anything, it has the special prompts, system prompt, that you are an expert in cleaning broken, malformatted text, for example, line breaks in weird places and so on. So I have really great grammar thanks to it, especially when I, type anything, create some posts or anything. And I really like the extract from Fabric because, for example, I use extract ideas, as I remember, to get some bullet points from the content that I, for example, from the article, from the YouTube video or something, because it gives me 20 ideas from the content in bullet points, and I know what those people were talking about. So, for example, if you would run this uh, on our live stream right now, you will get like 20 ideas about the private assistants, how they are working, how you can use chat, Llama Index, and so on. So you get, like summarized content, but in way of ideas instead of, like pure text. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, not only developers can use it, but to be honest, anyone, because it will improve consuming the uh, articles, YouTube
Yeah.
videos, any videos, so you can learn faster, analyze faster, get better results.
Yeah. So this is basically, let's say, to wrap it up. I would say that. We basically presented a couple of tools. The first one is Llamachat, which is like a tool that you can implement and build your local private assistant, right? That will be independent on, let's say, your provider. So basically, you can use either Gemini, OpenAI, probably Azure, some other LLMs. The other things we presented is awesome GPT prompts as the kickstart for adjusting the role of your assistant. And the other finding of view is Fabric, which is basically open source framework for augmenting uh, private assistants or even humans using AI. And this is really smart, I would say, as one of the last things, is that basically it's not even like outsourcing some kind of, the creativity part, right? But rather augmenting or enhancing that. So it's really smart, and Fabric as the entire framework make it much more easier for your very specific either private productivity cases or business cases. Cool. Thank you very much. I guess we are on time, Patrick. So thank you very much. It was
Thank
super
you.
useful, super practical as always. And we will also have the next session in around 2 weeks, where we will talk on the AI agents, I guess, right?
Probably yes. And I think even next week, as I
Yeah,
remember.
it will be the next week. Yeah, true. I've just checked my calendar and it will be next week. So, and we will discuss around AI agents. So, yeah. Thank you very much, Patrick. As
Thank
always,
you.
pleasure to talk to you, and always super practical. So, thanks for sharing your knowledge.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye.
Bye bye.